好，小 P，来点音乐。
好的。
小鹏的今天非常高兴跟阿里云建立中国汽车行业最大的自动驾驶计算中心。
NGP 已开启。NGP 已开启。
你好，小 P。
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 我在。
Hi, I'm very happy to be able to meet with you on this weekend, and I believe this is a very special and busy day right before the Shanghai Auto Show. I would like to extend my warmest welcome to all of you, all of our friends, new and old, and all of the audience who are watching our live event online. Hi everyone, I'm He Xiaopeng. Today is a very, very special day, and this is actually the eve of the 2023 Shanghai Auto Show. I would like to share with you a story. I remember when I first started to think of the idea of making a car, it was back in 2013, and I remember something very vividly, which was when I saw a special car on either the Shanghai or Beijing Auto Show. And on that day, I remember I heard that there was going to be 70 new models to be released on one auto show. And I thought to myself, wow, how scary it would be if we had 70 new products released at the same time in mobile internet. But today, actually, I hear that there's going to be 150 new products to be released at the same time. In 2013, in the space of mobile internet, we had the saying, which may not be applicable in automaking today, which was that nobody could beat the trends, because at that time, we actually witnessed how mobile internet changed the industries of the media, information, traditional internet industry, and we also saw how smartphones disrupted the industry of traditional mobile phones. We saw a lot of changes that actually wiped out a lot of the major companies out there with very high market shares. And that is why we thought that trends were that powerful. Nobody could beat the trends. And at that time, back in 2014, I was lucky enough to get to know Henry and other co-founders of XPENG Motors, and that's when we started the company. And in 2013 and 14, we believed that new energy vehicle was the future, and we believed that software was going to redefine the industry of automaking. And we were the minorities at that time who share the same belief. 10 years has passed. Looking back, from 2013 to 2018, which was the first 5 years of the company, when we were trying to build our first product. However, our understanding of intelligence at that time was unclear, and our capabilities of electric drive was very limited as well. We were able to make only 150 kilometers in range. And so we were questioned a lot. Without government subsidies, we were not sure if there's going to be market for such limited driving range of a product. And by 2018, we were able to produce our first product, G3. And from 2013 to 2018, that was our first 5 years of the first decade. In 2018, the number one EV makers in China made about 100,000 deliveries in their annual sales. At that time, nobody believed that new energy vehicles could achieve how it is today. And who would have thought today penetration rate of the whole industry could be so high? So what I'm trying to say is that trends always comes as a surprise. And even the most extensive market survey or research or user statistics could not foresee. But I believe in the coming decade following 2023, what the trends could be or how we should embrace those trends will be part of our biggest advantage. And it's something that we should look forward to. So in the coming 5 years, from 2023 to 2027, we are actually ready with our latest technology, our newest generation of architecture, and that is how we are going to embrace the coming trend. And we believe that together with our electrification and intelligence, we are more than ready to boost the market penetration of new energy vehicle to at least 35%. This is definitely a very bold statement. How should we embrace the future trends? I believe that we have a lot to talk about. Now, first of all, a knockout competition is just beginning. For the past decade, new energy vehicle has evolved from receiving a lot of doubt to experiencing rapid changes and development. So in the coming decade, we expect to also see a lot of development and changes. For the past 5 years, we saw that the annual sales of vehicles in China, if you look at the car insurance registration, there have been some decline in terms of the annual growth. And if we dig deeper into the statistics, first of all, we have to highlight new energy vehicles have been increasing in terms of their annual deliveries. So as a result, it was traditional ICE vehicles that was experiencing decline in their annual delivery growth. Now, if we take reference from the industry development of the mobile internet, we can see that obviously the takeover happened overnight because it's internet and technology, and the auto industry might take longer to materialize those kind of changes. And if you look at the internet changes, the first 3 years, evolutions took place very slowly, but then the next or the following 3 years, changes happened much quicker. We already saw that in the auto industry. Basically, for the past 5 years, the decline of ICE vehicle was still very slow, but in the recent times, we actually saw some signs of that kind of quicker slowdown. And next year, I believe that the decline will be more significant for ICE vehicles in China. And China has been doing a good job in terms of prioritizing high-quality development. And if Chinese companies want to be global and want to maintain lead, they need to stay ahead in terms of the technology and market development and the whole industry. And Europe and other parts of the world is going to catch up in the coming 2-3 years. And how should we embrace that kind of market changes? How do we identify the inflection point? As I was discussing with our friends lately, back in 2017, when I participated in an industry conference, I learned that there were 100 companies in the industry that were off scale, and there are also another 300 new players in the industry that were just proving concept at that time, and they were all talks and no walk. And in 2022, which was last year, as I was talking with the industry association, I was told that last year there were only 50 plus companies in the industry of scale left. According to their statistics, the threshold of sales on a yearly basis was only 10,000 to about 30,000. And so the majority of the other players were doing 0 to hundreds or several thousands of annual sales, which means that for the past 5 years, 400 companies became 50 plus. And actually, majority of the players became obsolete. And so by the end of 2025, there won't be any newcomers, because right now we have a lot of new entrants in the space. But by 2025, you expect to see the competitive landscape becoming like the World Cup. Who is going to be the final 32? I think we are already looking at them globally speaking. So in the following 5 to 10 years, everyone will try their best to get into the final round. And this is the 32 advancing 8 kind of game. And so in the coming decade, starting from now, we expect to see maybe 8 major companies left in the space. And a lot of the smaller brands or different sub-brands will be merged into bigger corporations, and we will have different kinds of companies out there. And in the end, we will end up with several major players. And if you take reference from the recent development of GPT, they swept the whole world within 6 months, but the R&D started very early on. So you can see when your software and service and ecosystem reach the inflection point, the change can happen overnight. And automaking is a heavy industry, and so safety is a top priority, and there are regulations that take time to form. That's why the past 2 decades have been slow, but in the coming decade, the revolution is going to be an absolute trend in industry, and it will be irreversible. Fortunately, last year, because of certain external and internal factors, XPENG was able to think better about what the trend would be and whether or not our company could grasp the trend or embrace the opportunities, and finally become a member of the Final Eights in the Automaking World Cup. So what will XPENG do? Today is the architecture release conference, and I think that before the big release, I would like to mention 3 principles for thinking about how to advance into the Final Eight in the future. One is a new architecture, which can strike a good balance in cost, efficiency, experience, and globalization. Second, the bottom layer requires a strong global organization and management system. In the past, in automaking and also in the internet industry, it was difficult for just any organizational formation to embrace the globalization of smart EVs, which require changes, reform, and reconstruction. So we need to establish a product promotion model that is different from traditional car companies while leveraging horizontal organization force like in the internet industry. At the same time, we need to fully grasp the scale, supply chain and manufacturing and safety and quality control capabilities from the traditional automaking industry. So this is something that the next generation of car companies need to do well if they aim to achieve 3 to 5 million in annual deliveries and an annual revenue of over 1 trillion RMB. The third point is whether or not we can achieve global marketing and finally achieve hardware and software to a large scale. The above mentioned are the basic skills, product capability, and marketing capability that determine whether or not a company can make the Final Eight. But these are only necessary, but them alone are not sufficient because it also requires a good angle and a good rhythm to achieve success. So today, I would like to share with you what XPENG has been doing and has achieved at the architecture level. First of all, cost balance. We maximize the cost balance, and we are able to do it throughout the whole process. The second point is to achieve highest efficiency in our R&D. In the past, we mainly produce 1 new model every year, but based on the architecture platform released today, we expect to release about 10 new cars in the future, and the efficiency will be very fast, and the quality will be far higher than before as well, at a much lower cost. And the third point is superior experience. We'll perfect the whole process of customer experience from end to end, especially including smart vehicle operation capabilities and service experience. So the above mentioned are important for us to realize with the new architecture platform. In the past 5 years, we have developed 4 cars on this architecture framework with an accumulative R&D expenses of over 10 billion RMB. And in the coming 5 years, we expect 3 times more investment, which is 30 billion, to further promote the architecture platform. So today, I want to bring you our next generation SEPA 2.0, or Scalable Electronic and Powertrain Architecture. We believe that this is the ultimate technology architecture for high-end smart EVs before autonomous driving is realized. There have been many challenges in the past. Each car was developed carefully, and each generation was constantly changing. Why? Because technology changes so fast. But through the past 9 years of commitment, thanks to the joint efforts of over 10,000 people in the company, we are very glad that we're able to redefine a smart EV architecture with stability, low cost, high efficiency, and superior experience that can maintain technological leadership within several years. And today, we'll usher in this new architectural change. Let's take a look. So today, we're bringing to you XPENG's SEPA 2.0. We call it Fuyao in Chinese, signifying the new heights that we can fly up to, just like the mythical bird Kunpeng in Chinese folklore. Now, allow me to share a few thoughts on SEPA 2.0 or Fuyao. In the past, XPENG has done a lot of exploration on smart EVs. But what do customers need, and how can we provide comprehensive support, and how can we support the changing needs in a rapidly changing environment quickly? All of these are very important aspects that we've been thinking about and trying to do. Customers actually have very straightforward needs for electric vehicles. First of all, safety, and second, sufficient range and affordable cost. Many of them are in conflict though. For example, if you want to have longer driving range, the best way is to use high-roll batteries and put a lot of them. But obviously, the outcome is to increase the weight of the car and also the manufacturing cost as well. So how to balance different aspects and how to meet the needs of the customers and fulfill the company's growth, that is a constant struggle, and there are many smart EV companies out there with new smart capabilities. So both smart cockpits or smart driving technologies are changing rapidly these days. These changes can lead to very good customer experience if they're good, and will generate challenges if they're not good. For example, building a smart cockpit and autonomous driving together can be very expensive, and customers expect to have all of the good capabilities to be managed and upgraded all at once, which is causing a lot of difficulties for a lot of new EV makers these days through OTA. As I always said before, at the heart of every smart vehicle is the operation. In the past, making a car was all about hardware, which mainly came from the suppliers. Therefore, when the car is developed and delivered, the new capabilities are built on top of the fixed capabilities from the supplier. But smart vehicles are different. Most of their cost and capabilities come from continuous OTA and constant changes in the later stage, because these upgrades generate high levels of customer interest and satisfaction, but also can generate huge inconsistencies and huge costs. So how to best balance the two will be the focus of future smart vehicle makers. Now we see many automakers adopted solutions from many suppliers that help them to increase their smart capabilities. We jokingly said that the industry's flooring capabilities are constantly improving, but we also need to see that the ceiling capabilities are changing as well. In the past, multiple domains and multiple capabilities were used to meet the different needs of customers. But very quickly, within 5 years, cars will be the same as computers and future robots, which means that only a main computing power, a main model, and a main framework can meet all the needs of the customers. So if you want to do this way, you have to consider abandoning the old-fashioned way of relying on the original suppliers, and you have to consider how to iterate and build the system and how to develop very quickly your products at a low cost. We spent 5 years in making SEPA 2.0. As a result, our new model R&D cycle is shortened by 20%, and we reach 80% of intercompatibility rate of structural components, and also over 80% of intercompatibility rate of the cost as well. SEPA 2.0 empowers us in maintaining the lead in powertrain, charging, intelligence, and smart manufacturing in the next 5 years. For models based on the SEPA architecture, we're going to talk about 3 aspects. First, power. Second, intelligence. And third, the whole vehicle integration. As we mentioned earlier, everything is to make the EV platform of the whole vehicle better, safer, and cheaper, and also to make the intelligence of the whole vehicle faster, stronger, and more consistent. Therefore, models based on the SEPA 2.0 architecture will be equipped with the 800 voltage SiC platform as a standard. Many people still don't understand the advantage of the 800 volt platform. Since February this year, we have started to sell G9 and P7 in many countries in Europe, because we wanted to introduce our newer generations of products to the global market. And in Europe, we realized that European customers really value the 800 volt technology. And to our surprise, G9 achieved record sales in the overseas market, exceeding the sales performance ratio of G9 to P7 in China. What is the 800 volt technology? Basically, if you need to pour water into a pool, you might have a very big bottle with a small opening. But now with 800 volts, you have a very big opening. So the speed of pouring water becomes faster. 800 volt is just that. Now many charging piles we have seen outside are actually capable of giving you faster speeds as long as you have the right platform and right compatibility. So now we'll use 800 volt platform as a standard. The advantage is that it can allow faster charging at any compatible charging pile. In addition to the standard configuration, it will also be compatible with 4C batteries to achieve faster charging speed and also charge up to 200 kilometers in 5 minutes. So for 3C batteries, it's been improved by about 50% compared with the previous generation. But if it is compatible with 4C, which will be for our future generations, we can actually get close to 100% of improvement. So usually when you go out and charge outside, you might have to eat a meal at the charging place because you have to kill 45 minutes while waiting for the charging to finish. Now, many people say that smoking a cigarette is enough because for most people that charge from 30% to 80%, the process can be done within minutes. In fact, charging speed is a very important aspect for EV users. At the same time, under the separate architecture, XPENG has a brand new X-Power electric drive. Through high-voltage silicon carbide technology, motor magnetic field distribution, and optimized reducer, we are able to max the electric drive efficiency to 97.5% and the overall efficiency of 92%. Let me translate. Basically, with the same amount of power, if you want to run a longer range, what you can do is, first of all, most importantly, to increase the overall efficiency, and then you can reduce the wind resistance, and you can reduce the energy consumption and energy ratio. Lastly, you can reduce weight and other specific details. So lately, we have utilized such a capability to optimize all of our future models, including some future facelift models. And we realize that there's a huge jump in efficiency and range. So from the user's perspective, for every 1 percentage point in overall efficiency improvement, the battery life can be increased by about 2% under the same condition. So basically, if the range is 700 kilometers, then an increase of 2% would be 14 kilometers, which is very, very valuable. So in the future, I believe that there won't be any needs for very long range because of battery technologies and the emergence of driverless driving. The market will gravitate more towards the medium range and low to medium range in 5 to 10 years. In addition, the value brought by the X-Power electric drive is a quieter space and also a higher level of integration. I am very keen on high integration because within such a small space in a car, only by making the rear space and also the front space more compact can we make the passenger space more beautiful and spacious. So the most important thing is to do a good job in space utilization and space integration. Secondly, the noise level, which is now being further reduced, because EVs are by nature very quiet, and XPENG has always prioritized music experience in the cockpit. We continue to invest in R&D to elevate the music experience, hoping to hear beautiful sounds when the car is very quiet. And if the noise level is high from either the outside or within the electric drive, then that would be very annoying. That's why we have been dedicated to reduce the noise level of the electric drive. At the same time, SEPA 2.0 is also equipped with the XHP Intelligence Thermal Management System. Within our system, from P5 to our future models, we will equip all of them with the XHP system, which will allow us to increase the range in winter conditions by about 15%. The overall charging power capability and battery cooling capacity have both been enhanced significantly as well, because one of the biggest challenges nowadays is to maintain driving range in winter conditions. We're able to maintain high driving range even when it's minus 20 degrees Celsius. And that is one of the determining factors of whether we can promote EV sales from the southern part of the country to the northern part. Good products also requires good power charging network. XPENG will maintain firmly expanding our super fast charging network in the future. And I would like to assure you that as we continue to improve our autonomous driving capability and power charging capability in the future, in terms of the charging experience and economics, we definitely expect a lot of improvement. So please stay tuned to our future development. The next topic is intelligence. There are 3 parts to intelligence in car. Let me share with you some numbers. A traditional ICE vehicle has 500 chips, and an average intelligent car has about 3,000 chips. XPENG will probably have more than 5,000 to 5,500 chips in every single car. So, how do you organize all those chips? It has something to do with our supply chain, cost, and capacity. So, at the beginning of our entrepreneurship, we had three teams. We had the electrical electronic architecture team, the autonomous driving team, and also the in-vehicle cockpit team. So these three teams are all brand new and independent in terms of their R&D, because in the long run, we definitely believe that we need to merge all these 5,000 chips into a smaller number of chip systems so that we can formulate a complete and independent central pre-controller, and these systems will definitely need to be integrated. That is why internet companies knew that no player out there would outsource their search engines, their recommendation engines, or e-commerce software to a supplier, because the technologies is just so fast and the changes happen quickly. So from another perspective, you can see a real smart EV company cannot completely hand over their smart software, their underlying data architecture, or the hardware related architecture to their partners or external suppliers because of the rapid change of technology. Maybe they can outsource part of their capabilities. However, they must have some in-house, self-developed, and self-integrated capabilities to make it work. Now, in the past, XPENG is always known for its intelligence level, which is leading the industry, and we are very confident in saying that in auto parking, full scenario voice assistance, and highway NGP, it is XPENG's capabilities that has driven the development of the entire industry in China. Now, with the new SEPA 2.0 architecture, we are confident that in new areas, intelligence is going to change their role from an auxiliary position to one of the top three go-to choices of our users in the coming 5 years, and that is on our to-do list. Then what do we need to do? Now, first of all, under the new SEPA 2.0 architecture, we are going to fully elevate the smart driving experience with the XEEA architecture. We will utilize the central supercomputer with our domain controller to enhance the performance of the interconnection speed. At the same time, we are going to partition the smart cabin platform from the vehicle control platform to enhance information security. The third area is the cloud application integration to achieve a higher level of safety, which is more suitable for globalization, and that can also help us to significantly lower our costs as well. Such EEA upgrades will allow us to reduce the overall vehicle R&D cost by about 50% and shorten the upgrade cycle of smart experience by 30%, while increase our ultra-fast OTA speed by about 300%. This can allow us to be as responsive as a smartphone, can also ensure the consistency in customer experience in upcoming models developed based on SEPA 2.0 architecture. Now let's talk about the XNGP. Now actually, when we talk about the Advanced Driving Assistance System, or the XNGP, we have been challenged very frequently, and I've been asked when autonomous driving can become a reality. Why a lot of companies on the L3, L2 level did not realize a true sense of autonomous driving. I believe that it comes down to three capabilities. The first one is safety, and the second is wide application, and the last one is affordability. Now let's talk about safety first. Now, our highway NGP capabilities are already very well developed. In terms of our number of collisions in tens of millions of kilometers, we are way safer than human drivers. And in 2023, our target is to have less than once of takeover frequency per 1,000 kilometers in highway driving scenarios. And in Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Shanghai, the three cities where we released the city NGP, we have calculated about 4 takeovers per 100 kilometers. And next year, our target is to further reduce it to once or less than once per 100 kilometers. So, from 3 cities in the first half of this year to dozens of cities in the second half of the year, and at the beginning of next year, from the parking lot of your home to your company, the average takeover should be less than once or only once per every 100 kilometers because most people who drive to work, their average trip is within 35 kilometers. And now I'm completely used to using the G9 and relying on XNGP from home to the gate of my company, and I'll take over at the gate of the company. And next year, I don't think I will even need to do that at all. And we firmly believe that XPENG's autonomous driving is not only an industry leader, but also will offer a new mobility to everyone that is much safer and cheaper than human driving across most cities or most scenarios in China in the coming 3 years, which is going to be revolutionary. Now, XNGP has become China's first and only mass-produced BEV perception ANSNet, and it's based on vision, complemented by radar. And this particular technological route of emphasizing perception allow us to become less reliant on maps, which is very differentiated in the Chinese market from other L4 companies or autonomous driving companies of a certain scale. Within our own architectural system, we're able to generate high-level, high-performing, low-cost integrated autonomous driving capabilities, which can also generate a lot of new capabilities in the future after integration. Now, in order to do that, last year, we invested in the construction of China's largest and only operational autonomous driving supercomputing center. We now have 600 pflops computing power. At the same time, we optimized the algorithm. As a result, our simulation training efficiency improved by 602 times. Efficiency per capita greatly enhanced, which is why our autonomous driving capability quickly developed. At the end of the day, it comes down to the algorithm and computing power. So internally, we set the targets of basically, we hope that with our XNGP on a yearly basis, they can improve their autonomous driving capability by 1 driving year of experience. And so when we first launch it, you can expect it to have 1 year of driving experience. But in the future, its driving experience can grow significantly. On a yearly basis, we will do 4 OTAs, and each OTA will increase the driving experience by 1 year. That is to say, next year, XPENG can achieve about 4 to 5 years of driving experience, and they never get tired and never doze off, which is very important. We believe that in order to truly realize ultimate intelligence, it needs to be affordable. Some of our peers actually handed over the solutions to partner A or partner B, and all of them failed. Why? Because there are 2 key things in order to do things standard. The first one is to have the hardware and software in consistency, and the second thing is to have ultra low cost. There were a lot of challenges that didn't allow that in terms of, for example, different height and width and layer of the car that need to be calibrated in order to match the different parameters. And that resulted in a lot of data and labeling. And so right now, with our SEPA 2.0 architecture, we are able to make the highest level of our intelligence-assisted driving XNGP a standard configuration in the future. We also will take into consideration the compatibility and upgrade of some of our past platforms as well. And the overall R&D efficiency of autonomous driving will be increased by 30%, and the adaptation costs will be reduced by 70%. And that is why in the past it was so expensive to do upgrades. The more products you have, the more expensive it becomes. Only with a unified structure can it be possible to control cost. So that was intelligence. Now let's talk about our smart OS in-car operating system, or our smart cockpit. Used to be called a smart cockpit as long as you have a screen in a car, but XPENG apparently doesn't think so. We aim to build something like a human-like super perceptive intelligent cockpit, the panoramic perception. So actually, our hardware perception and also our computing power in our autonomous driving capability allow us to understand the environment in and out of the car and make better decisions. Now, I would like to share with you an error case as well. So something that I've heard lately is when you are sitting in the back row of the car, when you ask the voice assistants to turn off the backlight. So exactly which light are you referring to? Are you talking about the backlight in the ceiling of the car, or are you talking about the tail lights? We expect to see a lot of capability differentiation in handling such variables. Now, there are 4 main capabilities in the smart cockpit, and we call it 3+1. First, smart scenes. So we are now converting the original screen-based interaction to scene-based interaction. This is already very prevalent, and we just have done it more systematically. And the second capability is intelligent voice assistant. That is language interaction to be performed locally and everywhere within the car without using the cloud. And it is very convenient and very fast, and we are on the path of achieving that capability, and we will continue to lead. Organically, we will also generate 2 new capabilities that lead the industry as well. First, man-machine co-driving. From low-level autonomous driving to high-level fully autonomous driving, there's an interesting change. Nowadays, autonomous driving can already recognize what is a traffic light and what is a sidewalk. The sidewalk is completely recognized by vision. Now, it is very interesting to be able to identify these because even for human drivers, you will encounter this kind of scenes, what kind of signs are for safety, reminding, and what are the process reminding signs. For example, when you look at the traffic lights, if you don't pay attention, when the light turns from red to green, you wouldn't notice. And actually, voice assistant can alert you and let you know that the light is green now. And there's a small animal in front, such as a kitten running in front. For example, when you don't pay attention, the car will actually recognize and tell you that there is a cat and you need to pay attention. So human-machine co-driving is a huge change in high-level autonomous driving. For example, if a car in front of you suddenly stopped and you didn't see it, the car would actually brake within 6 kilometers per hour, and this is called the dynamic low-speed AEB. And for example, if there's a stone or a road brake suddenly placed in front of you that you didn't see because it's in the dark, the car would also brake as well. This is called static AEB. In other words, the safety that can be recognized by autonomous driving will be incorporated into our higher level of capability, which is going to be very valuable. And the second capability, which is right now being developed, is our chat GPT sort of capability within the car, which is expected to be released in the second half of the year. Now, within the machine, there is no brain, but we have been developing the machine brain of the robot system. And the logic of GPT has accelerated the development of robotic brains for L4 and L5 by at least 5 years. Now, we used to be challenged by all kinds of scenario matching difficulties. And with machine brain, definitely we can do better in terms of matching the scenes. With the logic of GPT, we hope that by the second half of the year, we can bring this capability to some models and our customers through car-cloud cooperation. In the future, for example, when there's a traffic policeman in front of you telling you to stop, you know you have to stop. But if there is a random person asking you to stop, should you stop? As a human driver, it's very easy to decide. But for the machines, you need a machine brain to make that decision and judgment. So with our SEPA 2.0 architecture, we will be able to further develop these 4 capabilities. And at the same time, we can reduce the cost significantly by up to 85% as well. And that can lead to subsequent cost optimization in R&D. So we have discussed powertrain and intelligence, but for any car, the most important thing is still the vehicle itself. So with the SEPA 2.0 architecture, in addition to the smart manufacturing capability that we're leading the industry, we also have done a lot of changes in the technique and the process as well. So starting from the architecture, including the new model that we will release soon, we have incorporated China's first mass-produced integrated aluminum die casting technology. We also added the CIB battery body integration, which is smaller, more compact, safer, and lighter, compatible with various combinations of a suspension framework. Now, it used to be an architecture platform, but now we are compatible with multiple architecture platforms, bringing users a safer and more comfortable drive experience. Now, I just talked about the first one here. This is the only mass-produced front and rear aluminum die casting body in China. In previous models, some of our peers were able to only produce one or part of the aluminum die casting. But in our system, we have done R&D for 2 or 3 years, and now we are capable of completing the front and rear integrated aluminum die casting body. So from the exterior, you can already see a prototype of this. Now, its biggest advantage is that the whole car has no abnormal noise when driving, and the torsional rigidity has reached 42,000, which is 83% higher than that of the traditional body, and its safety is also greatly improved as well. We have 161 integrated components within it, which reduce the weight of the body by about 17%. For any EV, battery life or driving range is the most important. So the weight of the vehicle is reduced and the body is more compact, which is beneficial for reducing wind resistance and can lead to actually higher driving range and better vehicle performance as well. We also simplify the welding production area and the parts production process, optimizing the production rhythm of the front cabin and rear floor line. Compared with traditional welding process, the production efficiency is now increased by about 60 times. Such a rapid increase in efficiency is what we discover after a long time of research and mass production. The value of integration is significant. So the SEPA 2.0 architecture introduced the CIB battery body integration system, allowing us to meet all of the safety standards in the major 3 markets, China, Europe, and North America. The car body can withstand 80 tons of side impact compression, making the battery safer. We also have the IP68 battery pack, waterproof and dustproof designed, allowing us to have a 5% reduction in vertical space for a more comfortable ride as well. As you know, if you want to make a car look good, you must have low enough platform, wide enough, and also the tires and hubs must be big enough. So at the same time, you need to be able to leverage, utilize the space effectively. And so our new electric drive system, the new CIB system, and the new cockpit system all are doing this while maintaining a good look. One of our most important feature at the same time is that it's compatible with a wide range of suspension systems. We used to ignore the compatibility with different models and different architectures, so that's why we were only able to produce one new model every year. Now, a lot of our domestic peers have these problems. Can they produce several models a year? For example, in 2025, based on this SEPA 2.0 architecture, we aim to produce multiple models without increasing the cost. So we need to maximize the commercialization and platformization and modularization of this system. And we also will integrate a new generation of the IPB system, which can make the autonomous driving experience even better. It can integrate a double pinion power steering system, a self-developed domain control EPB parking system, and a 4-wheel drive control system. Therefore, the SEPA 2.0 architecture will be compatible with our future multiple vehicle R&D platforms. Many of our peers are now saying that they want to make cars of different brands, different kinds, different wheelbases, different architecture. But using one architecture this year, we already completed a particularly large car with a wheelbase of over 3,000 millimeters this year. We used to only produce sedan and SUV, and now we have built all kinds of body types such as hatchback, sports, SUVs, MPVs, and pickup trucks based on this architecture. And such an R&D efficiency improvement can allow us to reduce our costs significantly as well. And so tech for the masses is very, very important for us. And XPENG plan to upgrade Zhaojing, Guangzhou plants with other planning projects to adapt SEPA 2.0 by 2025.
并且全面适应 XPENG 2.0的扶摇架构。
Now, looking back at the entire SEPA 2.0 architecture, we just talked about a lot of technologies, but most importantly, what do they mean for our users? For our end users, we expect the configuration in the car to be extremely streamlined in the future. One of the drawbacks of our previous models was having too many configurations or variations. We hope to have a lot fewer configurations or variations going forward. We expect a unified experience, many capabilities as standards, and all intelligent capabilities are consistent, so there's no worry about getting started. We expect all evolutions to be efficient so that we can be updated quickly and create a worry-free user experience for everyone.
全的一致化，把为用户打造无忧的用户体验。那么，
Now, in addition to that,
那么在这个领域里面，实际上
our car owners
我们的车主
will also see a more important value,
重要的价值，
which is
这个
better design, lower cost, and a high efficiency.
以及更高效的效率。
What I would like to say now is that the whole industry has become highly competitive.
卷得不得了，
And there's this saying that
一直都觉得有一句话
is overtaking
有一
on curves.
有句话叫做
And I always disagree with this philosophy. I heard a government official from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs told us when he used to be an ambassador in Europe, he also told others that Chinese are learning so quickly from others on many tracks, many areas, and expect to overtake on curves. But the Europeans actually responded in disbelief because what is a curve really? Does that mean when you see a red line on a track, you just continue to drive forward when other people stop? Is that what you mean by curve overtaking? So I believe that on a straight road, actually, on a road with rules, there's no possibility of overtaking on a curve, which is the case in basically all industries nowadays. And we must change the track or the race that we are in, rise higher and see further.
坚定纯电。
That's why XPENG firmly took intelligence as our foundation 10 years ago. We believe that in the coming 10 years, the world would enter a landscape of getting into the final 8 from the final 32 kind of pattern. And in the end, at least you have to make an annual deliveries of 3 million in order to survive in the race. And that's why we believe that autonomous driving will start to really change customer demands in the coming 5 years and enter the next era of unmanned driving in the coming 5 years too. We expect to look at this matter from a higher dimension. We don't want to focus on current sales in a short term. Obviously, you can have a happy today or tomorrow, but what about the day after tomorrow? If you don't look at a longer future, how can you win in the long term? So we hope that through this new architecture and our brand new organizational adjustment and our integration of global marketing, we can really rise higher and see further. We hope that we can change our track and do different things. We don't want to be limited or be stuck in an already very competitive space. So I'm very happy today, and we'll be able to show you our first brand new car based on the SEPA 2.0 architecture, brought to you by Henry at the Shanghai Auto Show at 9:40 the day after tomorrow. The first strategic model of our evolutionary architecture, the ultra smart drive coupe SUV XPENG G6, will be officially launched. Let's take a look.
会正式推出，我们来看一下大屏幕。